Howdy, 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 and thank you for joining me tonight, folks. I know that Tuesday night is not typically one of my regular nights to be streaming, but with everything that's been going on, there's been a lot of things in the background that we are putting together. We have some amazing stuff that we have been working on, and we're just trying to keep things on a normal pace. Plus, on top of it, I got actual life outside of this, and I have to keep on top of that too. Don't want to get no more beatings from the wife, so I'm joking. But the fact is, folks, is that there is a lot of big news that is happening within the SPTV community. A lot of big things that are going to be going on tomorrow night. Make sure you join in because I am going to have Sir Crepitus and Mona, aka Fat Grammy, is going to be here. We are going to show you how an organization that is within Scientology is actually targeting children. And when we bring the receipts tomorrow night, it's gonna drop you. And we're going to be talking about that. There are some other big things that are going on, maybe coming on Thursday night for yet another impromptu live, because some of the information is just too much that we can't just ignore it. We've got to get this out here, got to let you all know what's going on and show you. I know a lot of people say, well, there's a lot of stuff going on, but we don't know, nobody's telling us anything. Well, a lot of these things we can't put out there, because if we do, it's going to be it could be actually detrimental to what we're doing. So what we're doing is a lot of this stuff is getting put together, and as soon as we're able to put the information out, we're going to put it out for you. Before we get too far into that, let me just say, anyone who is in the Midwest, huge, horrible storms going through the Midwest right now. I was watching one of the live streams about what's going on with the storm cells going through there. Just tons of tornadoes popping up everywhere. Actually, one of the tornadoes, I don't know if it's been verified yet or not, but one of the tornadoes may be a world record breaking tornado for the fastest ground speed tornado that has been going on. And the one that currently holds a record until this one pops it is from the 1920s at 77 miles an hour, if I remember correctly. Well, this one that they clocked today apparently was moving at 81 miles an hour. So if you are in any of those Midwest states, get yourself to safety. Make sure you're checking out what's going on, and make sure that you do not put yourself in harm's way, folks. I don't want to see anybody hurt. Fat Grammy, that was in Iowa, where that one was being clocked at. It was just west of Cedar Rapids, if I remember correctly. And like I said, everything is moving at huge speed. So be careful. This is a big, horrible line of weather that's going through there. It's just sprouting tornadoes like crazy. And speaking of a tornado, my goodness, look who's here. Hola. It is Penche Becky, Zero F's Given, our good friend. We've had her on here a few times, and so you all know her. Show Becky some love. We love Becky around here. She is one of those angels. She is the hummingbird of SPTV. So let me, before I make the next big announcement, let me bring in someone who not only is going to be a big part of it, but it's named after him. He hasn't been able to make it on our Sunday night lives because he's been enforced overtime with his work. But everybody, please say howdy to our dear old friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Clearwater Chad. How we doing, Chad?
Good, Paul. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And do you have an actual weather report for us from Clearwater, Buffalo?
I do, Poe. Weather in Clearwater, Buffalo, 71 degrees, Poe. Precip is at 0. The wind is at 9. And Roscoe and Mini Chad advise that it's 65% humid, Poe.
Yeah, you need to keep Mini Chad away from Roscoe. Anything that's small like that, he's going to be chewing that up. So let's take a moment here. And I know it ticks off a lot of people who just don't want to understand that I'm trying to say hello to all the people that come in here, and let's say hello to all of our friends that are here tonight. We got Nancy Alley, who by the way, she got the first comment of the night, and oh, look at that pretty puppy on there. All right, we got Mona Englert, one of our awesome members of the channel. Laura Waldy, who is a phenomenal mod, doing great. Addie D with that beautiful lab sitting there. Let's see, Olson. Oh my goodness, that looks like a feisty dog right there. Selena's here. Good evening, Selena. How are you doing tonight? Right. Oh, and Lisa Robinson with another beautiful lab. I just hear so many great things about labs. People love them. Of course, our great friend Mona, Fat Grammy, is here. Make sure you're saying hi to Fat Grammy. She's going to be joining me tomorrow night with Sir Crepitus as we talk about Scientology targeting children, and we bring in the receipts, and it's going to blow your mind, folks. Wayne's World of Science and Technology. What's going on? Chitza, our good friend from Ballyama. How are we doing tonight? We've got a dangerous one in here. Feral Cheryl is in here tonight. So, hey, Cheryl. And Cheryl will be part of the announcement for something that's coming up that Chad, Marilyn Honig and I have been working on. Johnny Goody, Debbie P. We got them from down under. Perth Scientology Audits in the house. Let's see. Cult to Sack. Howdy from hey, make sure you're not gonna be hitting anything. What is that? Is that a groundhog? That's pretty cool. You know me, anything exotic, I love. Mandy Gonzalez, and you all know Mandy has been a friend of the channel for a long time now. We love Mandy around here. Oh my gosh, here we go. Sarasota Jerry is here, and there's someone else we're going to be talking about for Saturday night as well. Clearwater, Erie, PA. Yeah, we're not having anything here in Michigan, but I'm worried about the folks that are in the Midwest, Clearwater. That's some nasty line of weather going through there. Sunday Avia, how are you doing tonight? Let's see here. Not my name. Let's see. Have been fair game by Scientology. It was not fun, not at all. And this was long before people knew how crazy Scientology was and how far they would go. Yep. And I think the thing is that a lot of people are finding out very quickly just how it is. Doc with that wonderful puppy pile got going on there. Miss Sunrise Dawn, another one of my awesome mods, is in the house tonight. So not my name. Make sure we're not missing Purple Groovy. What's up? Chatalicious. There you go.
All right.
KT Pita, we've already said Pinche Becky is here. Hola, Sarah Bauman. Thunder Age. I like that name. That's pretty cool. Let's see. All right. Making sure. Oh, Sen K is here. Hey, Sen, how are we doing tonight? What do we got there on that? Look at that pretty kitty. Right. Make sure we're not missing too many folks here. I know it just drives some people nuts. Jurgen is here. How are you doing tonight? And yes, my throat is just crazy tonight. We got the dogwood trees are putting those little, you know how when the dandelions create those little puffers that float around. Well, we got those from the dogwood trees around here. It literally looks like it's snowing. Our front yard, if you look out and you catch it from the wrong angle, it looks like it's covered with snow. So what do you think that's doing to my daggone sinuses right now? Codenade Soda is here. Howdy. And Soda is also part of the announcement for this weekend. Lucy Raylan. And folks, if you don't know, if you got a picture of your fur baby in your profile pic, and first time you're here, I'm going to try my best to get you on here and show that picture. I love Paige Loveless. Hey there. And that is is that a Highland? It looks like a Highland. The cattle from Scotland. Phyllis Vance. All right. Oh, Corrine C from Brazil is here. And look at those. Somebody loves their puppy. Susan S. Dastardly Saboteur is in the house. Portland SP supporter. All right. So Chaos Coffee. How are we doing? And I like that. That's cute. Hippie Chick 69. Let's see here. Make sure we're not missing it. All right. Got all those. So Chad, let's talk about what's going to be coming up Saturday night. That's going to be a pretty big night for us, isn't it?
I'm very excited, Poe.
Yeah, we've got We got quite a bit planned out. I have already secured a number of people who have said that they absolutely are going to want to be part of it. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up the thumbnail that I had originally done for it. And we're going to, well, if I can find it, that would help, wouldn't it? There we go. So, StreamYard's working nice and slow tonight. Here we go, folks.
Ooh, nice.
The SPTV Foundation Chatathon 2024 is going to be coming up this Saturday night from, we're starting what, at 8:30? Is that the time, Chad?
I believe 8 is like introductions, and then
right.
you and
okay,
me,
yeah.
Going 8:30, yeah.
8 p.m. So just make sure you're checking out with your SPTV channels, because we are going to be doing a special chatathon just for the SPTV Foundation this Saturday night. 8 o'clock, of course, will be the introductions. And let's see, let me go down a list of some of the folks I've already got lined up. And I'm not the only one. We have Nasty Nathaniel is going to be part of it. We have codename Dusty, or codename Soda, is going to be part of it. Sarasota Jerry is going to be there. Farrell Cheryl is going to be part of it. Jamie Mustard is going to be joining us. I'm waiting to hear back from some folks about what's going on. But it's going to be an all-nighter. We're going back to the original style. We're going to start off, and we're going to do the introductions around 8 p.m. And from 8:30 to 11, it'll be Chad and I who are going to be running the show there. We're going to have our special guest coming in, and then Chad's going to take over at that point, and Marilyn and I will be coming back a little bit later on, and we will be rejoining Chad before everything closes out. But this is going to be a big night of trying to get some much needed money raised for the SPTV Foundation and start continuing to help people. So Chad, I want to thank you for throwing your name in and coming up with the original idea of the Chatathon. This is going to be a pretty good night for anybody. It's, we're all going to be coming out and showing some love and some support from the community. I mean, are you ready for an all-nighter again?
Oh, you can't stop me, Poe. I can go 50 hours if it's needed for, the foundation.
That's awesome. I think we're gonna have a really great lineup of people going to be jumping in and out, saying howdy, showing that they showing their support for SPTV Foundation and the SPTV community as a whole. I think that there's a lot of great stuff that's been going on. I gotta wait because waiting to hear from Fat Grammy Mona. We're about some information that we talked about earlier today. We're going to see, like I said, if I have to, then I will be going live Thursday night, and we'll do a special report on that. And there's some big news coming out that is really, I'm trying to say it in a way that's not going to, we'll ask in just a second here, KT Peta. But I don't want to say it in a way that gives away anything, but Mona's been working on some stuff in the background that is really starting to make a difference in what is going on in the fight against Scientology. Chad, who are your special guests? You have any lined up so far?
I have a call into a big creator, a guy that's friends in real life with Poe, and Aaron. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. And somebody else is, so obviously we don't want to announce the name until we hear back, right, Poe?
Yeah, that's but the thing is, and somebody wants to know if Marty Rathbone's going to be there.
Absolutely. We got a lot of time to do all the Marty Rathbone will be there, Griff Calzone, Scotty Kilmore, Ted Ferguson, Oscar Ross, and Frank Amadeo will be there.
I was about to say, is Frank going to be there? We can't be there without the legal counsel of Frank Amadeo.
That's right.
Let's see. And Miss Kim says hello from the surface of the sun. She means Texas. So believe me, we got to just over 90 degrees today here in Michigan, and oh my gosh, here in Michigan, we're not used to warmer weather, just like you, Chad. We're not used to being hitting those kinds of things.
Yeah,
it looks like you got a little bit of sun on your face there.
Yeah, I have a tragic, not a real tragic story, but I have a story. If you have about 30 seconds to hear it, Poe.
Yeah, go right ahead.
You ever remember that 80s movie with that Chevy Chase or Chevy Chase, whatever his name is, where they
Yeah.
took the car on vacation to Wally World or whatever they
Yeah.
called it.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, it was called Vacation.
I took my kid 45 minutes to Darien Lake, and it was closed today.
Oh,
So, I mean, in this day and age, you'd think I would Google it before that it was open, but I figured it's 85 degrees. It's the middle of May. Why wouldn't they be open? And of course, they were closed.
and that's the big amusement park there, isn't it?
Yep. That's really the only one around that I know of.
I
So
say
I
just
thought
make
was
that
fun.
4-hour drive to Cedar Point.
Yeah,
We got to
well,
get you
next time, I'm
on
gonna
Top Thrill
definitely call
Dragster 2.
before-
Oh, it's part of the Six Flags company. Let's see. I know they've got a pretty fantastic roller coaster there, if I remember correctly. I can't remember which one it is. The Superman Ride of Steel is a good one.
Yeah,
208
that,
feet tall. Yeah, have you ridden it?
No, I only do the mid grade. Like the Pirate is like the biggest one I would go on.
Look here. I am 55 years old. I'm an old fat boy, and I used to love doing that stuff. And lately those things have been beating the daylights out of me.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely if I get over there, we'll go. I'll get you on them rides. I'll put up with it to get Chad on there. And there's our pal Sir Crepitus is going to be joining me and Mona tomorrow night, 8 p.m. And thank you, Sir Crepitus, for gifting those 10 memberships. That's awesome. If you don't know, Sir Crepitus does an amazing amount of support within the SBTV community. He is amazing. He's a good guy. He's a retired deputy from the LA County Sheriff's Department. Now he and I have done quite a few lives, and it's there you go, Chad.
That's funny.
The moose outside should have told you they were closed. So, all right. So, Chad, you got your taste of fair gaming when we were down in Florida, didn't you?
Absolutely. We were followed and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And a lot of folks don't realize the depths that they will go when it comes to fair gaming people. I've talked about mine. I'll talk about it some more tonight, but what brought about this live stream tonight is I've been getting a lot of emails, messages, things like that from folks about worrying about can they be fair gamed? Is it possible that they'll be fair gamed? The reality of it is yes, you can be fair gamed. And I think that we may have fair gaming actually happening on two different levels. We talk about Scientology, but if you listen to Rabbit, and when she showed the discussion that was going on in one of the, I don't know if it was Discord or what forum it was, where there were people who were also supposed to be anti-Scientology folks that were trying to find out where Rabbit or Alex is actually licensed at as a social worker. As you know, Alex has a master's degree in social work, and she's having the problem of they're trying to find out where she was licensed as a licensed, certified, or as a licensed clinical social worker, I think LCSW. And they were trying to find out where she was licensed at so that they could start filing complaints against her to try to end her career. All right. And that is folks who are supposed to be on our side of this. On our side of the battle. I talk with my hands, folks. And if you've never seen it before, that's how I do. And I'm also big and clumsy, so I hit the microphone a lot. But the fact is that these things can, and they may happen to you. They have happened to me. Clearwater Chad was there. He saw it firsthand that they actually do follow people. When I first talked about the fact that I had someone who was, how should I say it? It was the same car, the same person, same license plate. I was seeing it around my home here. And then I would drive 45 minutes south into Ohio, helping with the courier service that my wife owned. I would be down there, and suddenly I would start seeing this vehicle near our stops as we were going down through there. And as a police officer, my head is the term is my head's on a swivel. I'm always paying attention. Chad could tell you, when we're driving around, I'm looking at all the different vehicles, looking at what's going on, what the situation is. I go to a restaurant, I'm looking around the parking lot. I want to see how many cars are there. I want to know what kind of cars are there, all those different things. When we go inside, I want to sit with my back more towards the wall or towards the back of the establishment where I can see the door, those kinds of things. And that's just from years of being a police officer. I'm always paying attention. Go ahead.
And I just want to say, folks, that is true. We were always on duty. We were always on the beat. And Poe didn't skip a beat. He really was. He was I always felt like he was looking out for everyone. And we always tell the story about when he helped that lady down when she fell, and that's Poe on the go for you.
And that's and that's how it is that when you do this, they talk about, Scientology talks about the reactive mind. Well, as a law enforcement officer, you're always paying attention to situational awareness. You want to know what's going on. So in my case, and Chad can, if you want to talk about the lady who fell, because I know there's going to be some people here who haven't heard about it.
Oh, okay. So we were waiting. We were going to lunch with Mr. Matt Cox, a pretty big creator. He's friends of, now he's friends with Poe on the go too, but he's friends with Aaron, Poe and I, and we were going to lunch, in Wesley Chapel, I think it was. And anyway, so we were waiting, and this lady was looking at some car, and she fell. Meanwhile, I'm just processing what just happened, and while I'm processing that, within seconds, Poe's already helping her up. And that's the kind of man that John Poe is, guys.
And the reason I asked Chad to talk about tell that story is the fact that I'm not trying to gain favor for myself or anything, but that is how, as a law enforcement officer, and Sir Crepitus can back me on this, we're always alert. We're always paying attention to what's going on around us. When we were in Clearwater and on our second night, and it was just Farrell Sherrill and Lori Plays that were out there with us, as we're walking around, I noticed a difference in the people that were out. The first night, it was all like couples, things like that. As few of them as there were, because that town is dead down there around Flag and the Fort Harrison. But I noticed that there were, that night, it seemed like it was more husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, couple walking with their child in a stroller. There was one woman walked by, had two adorable dogs in a stroller. It was amazing. But the thing is the second night, when it was Chad, Lori, Cheryl, and me, I noticed that there were a lot of people who were very unclean. Their clothes were it looked like they hadn't cleaned their clothes in a month. They, that kind of look. But also what I noticed is a lot of them were walking around talking to themselves. And I turned to Lori, and I also talked to Chad and Cheryl about it. I'm like, this reminds me so much of some of the stuff that's been happening in LA when these kind of folks show up and they are, I'm just reading a comment. Sorry. These kind of folks would show up and then something happened to the auditors, to the protesters. So you have to, always keep your attention. And Sir Crepitus, yep, our heads are always on a swivel, always aware of our surroundings. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter how long you've been out. It doesn't matter how long you were in. If you were a police officer, I'd say more than a year, these kinds of things start building up in you. And that's just how you do it. It'll never stop with me. That's just how it is. Sen-K, my dad taught me to be hyper focused when I'm out everywhere. Absolutely. Fighting fairly is not as important as winning is. Not true, Rusty, because if here's my thoughts on it. Unless you're talking about how Scientology views things, but my view on it is that if you start fighting unfairly, illegally, you start doing the dirty tricks, then one of the problems you're going to have is how do you create any kind of backing for the purpose that you're fighting for? When people, oh man, that dirty fighter right there does dirty tricks, those kinds of things. You have to be, that's the thing is we can't say that we're trying to have integrity, that we're trying to work on an honorable cause and do it honorably if we're doing dirty tricks. So, and there, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that that's not the way that I handle it. And from most of what I've seen through history is when folks fight dirty, it seriously degrades their standing. Let's see. He seriously made you tell the story to pat him on the back. What a POS. That's on your channel, Chad. Looks like you got a couple of trolls in there. Thank you. What's your name? My sock account. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Let's see. So as I yeah, I mean, these are the things, and what we have to remember is when this stuff comes around, like what happened to Nance Drew in Chicago, that kind of stuff is the kind of things that we have to take into account when it gets in front of a judge and the judge sees what happened, and that how could you arrest someone for assault and battery based on what is on the content there? That's when, it's going to, the truth is going to hold out. That's when, justice is going to come back. And we have to be careful about how we handle these things, folks. If we lower ourselves to the same level that they are, then how are we any better? All right. If we're able to excuse, Sarasota Jerry says that he heard that the charges against Nance were dropped. I haven't heard yet. Honestly, it's literally like those tornadoes happening out in Idaho. That's how things have been. It's just been crazy. But if you are willing to, Doc, the boob gate. But the fact is that if you are willing to lower yourself, lower your standards, lower your ethics, lower your morals, to go one step, are you going to be able to stop yourself from taking the next step? How far are you willing to go on it? And that's what we have to think about, folks. We have to think about, if we lose credibility in what we are doing, how do we get people to support us? Let's see here. And folks, if you don't know who this is, Miss Miriam is in the house tonight. And yes, I'm doing great. I'm just busy as could be. Chad, Miriam would like to know how you're doing tonight.
Oh, doing great. Thank you, Miriam. Hope you're doing well as also.
And Miriam, as with anybody else, I got to ask you, Ozzy. So let's see here. Okay. Yes, from Debbie P. Charges dropped, but COS can refile within the next 160 days. Yeah. But here's the interesting thing is on that level, since that person has they dropped without prejudice, can be refiled, says Pinche Becky. Okay, yeah. So the thing is that when these kinds of things happen, I'm telling you, as you see, they've already been dropped. They can try to refile them, and it may actually go to court, but we'll see what happens. I wasn't really worried about this case actually gaining any foothold, because it's BS. Okay, it was literally it's ridiculous. Just to put it that way. When I brought the receipts on it with the crime stats from Chicago, the population stats, the things that are going on with that, and how that they had the time to make an arrest on such a simple, stupid charge, it absolutely just dumbfounds me that they could be that way. Let's see here. All right, just making sure we're not missing anything else. So I've had a lot of people ask me in both emails, messages, things like that, if Scientology starts making complaints against me on my job, and you know what? And see, Laura Waldy keeps telling me I got this OCD thing where I got to keep going with the chat. So Nance said the charges were dropped because Chadwick did not show up in court. Well, that's a very good reason that they would drop the charges if the actual complainant or victim doesn't show up. And there we go. We got we have Marilee, Mona Englert, and we have Perth all chiming in with oi oi oi.
All right.
So definite trouble source. I'm not an attorney, but my understanding of it is the thing is that when a case is dismissed, they can be dismissed with prejudice, but and that means that it can't be brought back against you. If it's dismissed without prejudice, then that means that the case can be brought back. And that's the thing. The thing is, I don't think they actually really care, KT PETA. That's the thing. If they pursue Nance, the court and law enforcement will be the laughing stocks of all time. I believe me, there are far crazier things that people have been arrested for. Does it matter to you? I've asked Nancy to get hold of me. That's I don't. I've asked her to get hold of me if she wants to come on here. I've made my email very, very well known. I'd love to talk to her. But I'm sure that she's got everybody and their cousin is trying to talk to her as well. So that's just, that's how it is. She may come around and want to be on, and we can talk about things at that point. But till I hear from her. And Maxie says that Chadwick had a family emergency. How can you have a family emergency if you disconnect with your family? Chad, what do you think?
Good point.
If you're disconnected from your friends and family, I don't see how you can, how you can claim a family emergency. Maybe he had to go and file the calluses off of Wavy Davy's feet that morning or something. I don't know.
Must have been a church emergency.
There you go. Yeah. He had to do some more chalk scrubbing. And exactly, Amy, nothing about the cult makes any sense. That's very true.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay, so folks have been asking about First Amendment rights, things like that, and as it pertains to your job. All right, first off, I'm not an attorney, but I have sure seen a lot of people lose their careers over things that they've said on social media, in the public, on the news, things like that. And the thing is that you, in the culture that we have nowadays, where if you say the wrong thing, you can lose your job, you can lose your standing, you can lose so much of your life because, they call it cancel culture. And I don't, I'm not getting into the whole political side of things, but if it's holding true on those kinds of things, what do you think could happen if you get 1,000 complaints made against you from people who are part of a religion saying that you are a religious bigot and that you are targeting their religion because you have some kind of undue hatred towards their religion? These are all things that can and may happen. Mark Headley talking about how he had clients that he had lost because they were sending out letters, making phone calls to his clients saying what had happened with him. Sir Crepitus has talked about how they'd gone after him as an LA County Sheriff's deputy. Wow. Folks, these are real things, and you need to be prepared for that fact if you are going to jump into the world as an SPTV contributor, as a protester, as a First Amendment auditor, or doing what Chad and I are doing. These things are real. They can happen. Fortunately, in my situation, Sir Crepitus' situation, we're retired. They can file all the complaints that they want against us with our former employers. There's nothing they can do. All right. It's not like the former employer could come back and go, oh, we're taking your pension now because you said some things that some folks didn't like. They can't do anything about it. All right. I'm no longer under the jurisdiction of my former employers. They don't have any right to tell me what I can and can't say. And yes, I know that things have, there is a First Amendment in the United States that says you have freedom of speech, but it's been upheld many times where employers have terminated employees for the simple fact of using that First Amendment speech because they say it negatively impacts the company, or it negatively impacts the company's ability to profit or to stay afloat. So these things are real. They do happen. I'll tell you a story about in Detroit. There was a chief of police who was absolutely horrendous. And you had people who were part of the union. Now, unions have generally been no touch. The union representatives can say what they want about the city, about the administration, about the chief, about the commission overseeing the police. They've generally been able to speak their mind, and they've been untouchable for that. Well, this gentleman was either a union representative or, something along those lines. He actually put together a website, firechiefwhatever.com, and ended up being terminated by the Detroit Police Department. And when the news was talking with one of the high-ranking officers within the Detroit Police Department about the termination, they said, how can you do that when it's his First Amendment right? And they go, yeah, he has a First Amendment right to freedom of speech, but he doesn't have a First Amendment right to keep his job. Well, lawsuit happened. The court says, oh, yes, he does. But the fact is that guy went almost a year without any salary, without medical benefits for him or his family. And you may get your job back at some point, but can you sustain everything in that short amount of time? And that's the important thing you need to think about is, are you prepared that someone could go to your neighbors and say, Clearwater Chad is a weirdo. He likes waterfalls. All right. Say something like, and that they say horrendous things. What did they say to my neighbors? They said, he's being investigated for some interesting crimes. And they're like, so you're a police officer? Well, no, we're private investigators. Well, who cares? My neighbors know who I am. They know what kind of person I am. All right. So the fact is that, it doesn't work in every situation. And I think that I'm very fortunate in the fact that people know who I am. They know my standing and how I operate. But the fact is that you have to be prepared for that fact that these things can happen to you. People going through your mailbox, seeing what kind of mail you're getting, which thankfully everything is so electronic and digital nowadays that stuff that's coming in the mail is pretty much 90% of what we get is junk mails and advertisement flyers. That's what we get. So not really worried about that. Grabbing my trash. Great. You got all of Roscoe's little love bombs that are in there. Those kinds of things. You're not getting at anything that's going to be important. We make sure we take care of any kind of documentation that comes out of our house. But you have to be prepared for these facts. Someone sitting a few houses down the road from us, taking photographs of my home, taking photographs of my family, parked up the street, doing the same kind of thing. All right. Are you prepared for these kinds of things that are going to happen? Because you join into this fight. These are the things that could happen to you. And now, as we're seeing in Alex Down the Rabbit Hole's case, we even have people who are supposed to be shoulder to shoulder with us, elbow to elbow with us, fighting Scientology and using Scientology tactics. This is a real possibility of what can happen. And there you go. Becky is independent for a reason, and are you prepared for the fact that you may, if you're married, or you have a partner or a significant other, they may go after them. All very real possible things that could happen to you folks. And there we go, JDSA. My boy is in the house tonight. Everybody say hi to Jay. Jay, will you shoot me an email? I have an important question I want to ask you. It's not a serious thing, but it's something I'd like to get you on board with. But yeah, shoot me an email, Jay. I've been wanting to talk to you. The fact is, folks, all of these things are real. All of these things happen. You have to be prepared for it. Let's see.
I'll take care of that, Poe. Take care of that one.
There we go. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we got trolls in here tonight. My sock account, why don't you do us a favor? Why don't you be a big stand-up person instead of throwing slurs and slings out at everybody? Why don't you put your real name out there so we know who you are? All right, so that we know that you're not a simp for someone else.
I second that.
You know, it's going to be different in every jurisdiction, KTPTA. But I mean, here's one of the things you need to think about. I know that as a law enforcement officer, if it is viewable from, thank you, Jay. If it is viewable from the public space, unless it is an area that is considered private, and I've even seen court cases where they've turned around and they said, well, if this is such a private area, then why don't you have it cordoned off so that it can't be seen? And that's, you know, it's a real gray area with that kind of stuff. And you're going to have to show, and I don't think that, you know, I forget what they call it anymore. I can't tell you the last time I even heard of anyone getting charged with that. Let's see. Chitza, I find it weird that, what find weird is that when Fair Gaming COS acts like, cracker licking is a horrible offense when they don't consider SA within COS to be a crime. And that's, you know, I mean, that's part of how they do is they, and they're back in there again, Chad.
Next time I'll just ban them.
Oh, my suck account, a crooked cop. Come with receipts. Don't make claims unless you have receipts to back it up. All right. You know, that's just how it is. I'm not, you know, I love the fact that you're trying so hard, but until you say, my name is John Poe, what is yours? There you go. Yeah. You know, the thing is that we have so many of these things going on that they can do to you, and they can get at you in so many ways. Chad, if you want to make Laura a mod on your channel, she can go ahead and help out with that. Okay,
I'll do that right now.
Yeah. Let's see what happened with Marilee. Yeah. Hard to. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, come on. If you're going to come at me with something, my sock account, you know, come at me with something that, you know, saying I'm a crooked cop, you know, without any kind of receipts on it, you're talking a bunch of garbage. Marilee, the anti-Scientology thread on Reddit had people looking for info on Rabbit posted under who shall not be named. And that was what I was talking about, Marilee. So now, you know, even more, you got even more receipts coming in. And the thing is that, you know, here we have Marilee saw it, and that's what was going on with Alex down the rabbit hole, is they were actually looking for a way to try to go at her employment. And if it's true that these are people who are supposed to be fighting Scientology alongside of us, I got to tell you, I don't want anything to do with folks like that, because friendly fire is a real thing, and it ends up hurting a lot of people. And if you're purposely going after people like that, and you're trying to find reasons to hurt their employment, and you're supposed to be fighting Scientology using their exact same tricks, what kind of person are you? So let's see here. Yeah, absolutely, Petty Lane. They do not care about civil rights. It is not something that they, when we talk about Scientology and what's going on with them, the fact that we now know that there have been essays on children that have gone on, there have been essays on adults as well. But what is going on is Scientology hides it, moves the people on to another org or another place. And the fact is that they're just, they don't care. They hide it. The people disappear, never get brought to justice. And, you have to think about it on the fact of Miriam's case where, there was a window of opportunity to get her father criminally charged and have that case go through and get justice for her. And somehow it didn't get pushed through in the right time. And, the fact is that this is the kind of tactics that Scientology uses. And these are the kinds of things that they do. And then to have it happen to Miriam and what happened to her, and you have to think, how are you fighting Scientology when you're doing the same kinds of stuff? Constance June, I can tell you for a fact that it has happened. The department I originally worked for and retired from, the Detroit Police Department, and the last department where I was chief of police, all received Freedom of Information Act, FOIAs, wanting my complete employment history. Okay. These folks, this is the kind of stuff that happens. All right. And thankfully here in Michigan, we have laws that say that you cannot get these certain records. You can't get these things. And quite honestly, my employment records, my personnel files, there's nothing you're going to find in there. Let's see here. Thomas Foster, officers get treated like garbage just for saying hi to someone. What makes the trolls are going? Well, yeah. And that's the thing is I've had people literally spit in my face. I had a woman hit me in the back of the head with a cast iron skillet. You think coming on here and calling me a crooked cop is going to hurt my feelings? Please. That's not going to happen. Let's see. The fact that nothing is done about the stalking and harassment boggles the mind. Well, that's why in a lot of cases you have private investigators are being used, because one of the things about it is when they use private investigators, that's their job, is to stalk, harass, that kind of stuff. And there's, little loopholes they can fall through with things like that. So that's how they can get away with that kind of stuff. And it's crazy that they can, but it's a reality of life, folks. I mean, I was looking today and I was listening to some court cases that were on YouTube, and I was listening to the way that everything is done, the way everything they speak and all that. And Marilee, I'll answer that in a minute. But the fact is that when all that happens, you go to court and they do everything they can to make you get an attorney to handle your case. All right. The whole system is set up to where it is just this revolving system of, you have politicians that are so many politicians that are attorneys making laws, creating situations where everything revolves around, you have to have attorneys for everything. What happened to the ability? It used to be here in Michigan, I don't know about other states, but you could literally go and take the bar exam, which is the exam you use to become an attorney. You could literally take that bar exam and pass it without ever spending a day in college. And then they changed it to where, oh no, there are people actually passing the bar exam who haven't gone to college, and we need to take care of that. Okay. All right, Chad. But that's the thing, is our whole system is set up around this, and it's crazy. Per Scientology audit, church lies and covers, and they're protected as a religion. Not as much can be done, I guess. Just don't feed the online trolls. It's just, this is part of it, folks. I mean, these people coming on here trolling these channels is just a continuation of that kind of stuff. And that's the problem. Did the cast iron skillet break? No, but my head sure did. Woo, boy, did it get me. Let's see. And I was actually there on a domestic call, and the woman had been brutally assaulted by her husband. I had arrested him. He was handcuffed. I was putting him in the car when she came up from behind me and hit me and knocked me out. And if it hadn't been for another officer there on scene, she probably would have tried to kill me. If she hadn't already. Believe me, that hurt bad. All right, Chits, I'll make an emoji for it. But the fact is that it's reality of being a cop. You take the beatings, and we do it on a daily basis as police officers. And it very well could be. I mean, we all Lisa Love Advocacy. I suspect they are fake accounts pretending to be real anti-cult people in Reddit, and it very well could be. I know that my kids say a whole lot. I don't go on Reddit. I don't know much, if anything, about Reddit, but I know my kids, when I bring it up, they're like, don't go there. I have no idea. I just stay away from it. And to type Drano. Let's see. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So, folks, if you're going to do this, you have to be prepared for the facts. You have to be understanding. You have to make sure that you're secure in everything you're doing. Pinche Becky, her husband, her family, they know that this is part of who she is, with the harm reduction, with the volunteering, with helping people out, being that person who gives of themselves to the community. Now she's being drugged into the anti-Scientology world. The fact is that her family's prepared for that. They know that there's going to be long hours. She's going to be drugged away from home, handling other people's problems. But they understand that she has a need in her heart, in her soul, to do that. A lot of us, I've spent the majority of my life standing up for those who can't stand for themselves. And it's very important to me that I continue to do that, even though I'm not a police officer anymore. And I'm prepared for that fight. My wife knows full well that what the real tactics of Scientology are, what the real tactics of some of these trolls are, what really happens out there, and how you can actually be harmed. Okay? I'm prepared for it. Look at what's happened to Aaron. Look what's happened to the protesters out in LA, where they've been physically assaulted simply for protesting a cult that allows SA to go on and go unpunished. And thank you, per Scientology Audit, for that super sticker. Let's see. How long was I out of commission with a whack on the head? How bad was the concussion? My goodness, I can't even imagine going through that. I don't even know how long I was out. I really don't. I just remember I'm putting the guy in the car, and next thing I know, I wake up laying over the hood of the police car, and my head hurt bad. Oh my gosh. That's why when I'm talking about stuff, I'm like, took too many knocks to the head. It's that kind of stuff that happens. And it's a reality. I was breaking up a fight going on in a bar, and it was all over with. And I've talked about it before, how our department used single man cars. They would send you by yourself to handle bar fights. They would send you by yourself to handle domestic calls. And I'd gotten in there. I broke the fight up, got everybody out of there. The waitress is collecting all the bottles and everything. I'll tell you in just a second, Petty Lane. It's pretty interesting what happened with that. Waitress dropped a bottle. I'm talking to the owner of the bar. She dropped a bottle. It smashes. Next thing I know, I looked at the guy and I go, did I just spit while I was talking? And the guy's looking, and then suddenly I felt warmth on my cheek, and I went like this, and I literally touched like that, and I'm touching my tongue. 75 stitches out here, 35 in here. And that wasn't even an actual situation where someone was trying to hurt me. So that's the reality of it, folks. We put ourselves on the line for other people, and that's how I worked most of my life. And I'm not ashamed of 1 minute of it. I do know that now at my older age, I'm starting to feel things a lot worse than I used to, but that's a fact of life. You bust your body up when you're young, and you're going to pay for it. Petty Lane, as for what happened to her, she went down for assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, and she's still in prison, as far as I know. I haven't heard whether or not she's out. KT PETA, those are the ones that make civilians not back the blue. The bad eggs need to go. There are bad ones, absolutely. Let's see. Hobie wasn't police. He was armed security at a bad motel. Hated domestics. He would think he was saving a victim, and he'd be yeah. I mean, I've gone on domestics and arrested an entire family. It's no lie. And welcome, Bobby Joe Kellogg. Bobby Joe, did you get your invite for Saturday night? And hopefully you're going to be joining us Saturday night for the chat-a-thon for the SPTV Foundation. Battle Creek just got $5.5 million donated last week. Hope y'all are good. What'd they get it donated for, Bobby Joe? That's very interesting.
What's Battle Creek?
What's that?
What's Battle Creek?
Battle Creek, Michigan, city of Battle Creek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, it isn't easy. Yeah, I don't scare. It's very, what scares me is if one of my kids is hurt, if my wife's hurt, if my mom's hurt, those kinds of things, that's what scares me. It really does. But given that my son is 6'6", 325 pounds, strong as an ox, good luck with that. And my daughter is about 1,000 times meaner and stronger than I am. Yeah, good luck with that. And my wife and my mom, both them firecrackers, please. Yeah, and everybody, make sure you get over to Chad's channel and give him a like also. So folks, please put your questions in there if you've got anything. Ask me anything you want to know about this stuff. I'm going to tell you the best as what I know, but I want you to realize I'm not a former Scientologist. I'm a never in. Most of you are never ends. Most of you have never had to deal with these kinds of things, and you may very well have to. I mean, just the police being called on you, the swatting and all that kind of stuff. Those are our realities, and it can happen with nothing to do with Scientology whatsoever. There are people out there that just, wow, they gave it to the Battle Creek Scientology or to the city of Battle Creek. If they gave them 5.5 million, oh my gosh.
That's a lot of money.
Crazy. If that's happened, my goodness. Miss Kim is deadly with a cane. These are like I said, folks, these are the things that you have to be prepared for. And if you've never dealt with these kinds of things before, they can be overwhelming, and you need to make sure that you are prepared for it. And the fact is that they gave it to to the Scientology Ideal.
Oh, not cool.
Oh my gosh. I'm just looking here. My goodness. A couple from Detroit. Wow. My goodness. But if you're not prepared for this, if you've never dealt with anything like this before, and Secrepitus can mirror a lot of what I'm saying. But the fact is that when you have life as a police officer, especially when you're around a bigger city, you're going to run into gangs, organized crime organizations, those kinds of things, and you're going to be dealing with that quite often. I've literally seen individuals get pulled over. I saw, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. A police officer pulls a car over in Detroit. The person driving the car gets out, walks to the back of the car, opens a trunk, pulls out an AK-47, and there's literally a standoff with the police right there. No lie. Literally happened a mile outside of our city in Detroit. We actually responded to go back up on that. And it turned out that they were gang affiliated. And these guys they had no fear whatsoever. If I'm going to go down today, I'm going down today in a fight. That's the way that they look at it. So folks like Sir Crepitus and I, we've gone through these kinds of things, and it's a reality of life for us. That's how those are the things we have to deal with. And sometimes it's on a daily basis. I've talked about the fact of the young man who thought he was going to get in trouble and had a knife and went to throw it, lost grip of it, and it landed right here in my shoulder. All right. Didn't mean to do it. And I literally almost went to knuckles with a detective over the fact that he was trying to get this kid put away maybe for the rest of his life. And I didn't want to see this kid's life destroyed over a mistake. He needed to be punished for it. He did something stupid, but he didn't need what they were trying to put on top of him. And that's the crazy thing there, is that they, I think and when I was talking with some of the officers that I used to work with, and we were talking about that case, they said this simple fact that I told the detective and the chief of police. I said, if you go forward with these charges on this kid, I will testify in court that this kid never attempted to harm me. This was all a mistake. And it's literally those who are above me in authority in my department who are trying to destroy this young man's life. He was a young guy, under 20 years old. He did not need to spend the rest of his life in prison for a mistake that he made like that. You know what? I had insurance. I had workman's comp. Got me some time off from work. And, it wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. I got a nice scar from it. But, the thing is that I don't want to see someone's life ruined over something they're not prepared for. And that's what I want you all to be prepared is that the real consequences of this, they're there. You have to be prepared if you're going to make this commitment. And the reality of it is yes, they can come at you, and they may come at you. I know a lot of people that are in the anti-Scientology community. They've experienced fair gaming. And it's sad that now we're not only experiencing it from Scientology, but we're experiencing it from people who are supposed to be on our side as well. And I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. I wish I could snap my fingers and we all could get along and we could all focus on fighting Scientology, but apparently other folks have decided they're going to go one way or another. And now we may have people that are joining in that just want to do nothing more than troll things. Sir Crepitus, absolutely. When I've had death threats, especially when I was on a special team, targeted organized burglary, absolutely. That's the reality of the situation. Wow. KT Pita, what advice would you give to streamers when they have proof and the police are denying the view or looking at videos? What should they do next? If you feel an officer is not doing their job, all right, and you think that they should have done something, and every officer has the responsibility when they're investigating an incident that they must do a thorough investigation into that incident. And if they're failing to do that, do not fear going above their head. Right there on scene, when you're upset, when all that's going on, you have to remember, keep yourself calm. Don't let your emotions override you. Take it to their chief of police, their commission.
Absolutely.
All right. Take it above their head and do what you got to do with it. But don't let them ignore the laws. Don't let them ignore their responsibilities. Anti-cult. You know what? Here's the fact. This isn't something that falls under that. The courts have ruled. And quite honestly, I'm not going to have people who are putting things on my channel or in my chats that are saying things that are disruptive, hurtful, or cause problems for other people. And bye-bye. So
Absolutely.
do you want to troll? Wrong place. You know, I used to have a policy where I didn't care. I just let people put what they wanted. But the fact is that you got people that are saying things that are disrespectful, hurtful, even lies that are being put out there. So that's, you know, I'm not putting up with that anymore. I don't care. You get your feelings hurt because you said something that was absolutely out of line, and you said things that were either out of line or they were untrue or they were so completely insulting to people. I'm not putting up with it. All right. This is a channel where we're trying to support each other. We're trying to be focused on positivity. And if you want to bring negativity in here, bye. Don't need it. Joel McCoy, and welcome back, Joel. Hi, folks, coming in from the stream by Byron, talking about his childhood. All right. Well, thank you. It's good to have you back, Joel. Pink Cat Becky in LA. If you go to LAPD commissioners meeting, you will get some assistance during the meeting. Don't do like Becky and ask a desk secretary for help. You know, and we've all seen the video. I talked about that, and I've had Becky on a couple times here. Don't let someone who is clearly not wanting to do their job push you away. All right. If you go and you try to make a complaint with your chief of police over something that their officers did, and you have someone who is not the chief of police, not someone who is a commissioner, something like that, and they are telling you, like they did with Becky, go above them. There's always someone above that person. Do not let them intimidate you. Do not let them sit there and tell you. When Becky went and she met with that sergeant after she spoke at the commission meeting, and he's like, well, that guy did nothing wrong. Well, you did take the same oath, didn't you? Did you not take the same oath? Are you not a police officer also? Just because you got three stripes on your arm doesn't mean that you're still a good cop. Still doesn't mean you are an effective cop. Do your damn job. Be a police officer. You took an oath. You put your right hand up there. You swore to that oath. Follow the oath. It's that simple.
Yep.
Don't let them intimidate you. Do not let them push you around. All right? Don't do that. And don't do like me. Don't get loud. Just take it. Make sure you document everything. Record everything as much as you can. If you walk into a police department and they tell you you can't film, why? Why can't I film? They need to give you a legitimate reason. And if it's a police lobby that is open to the public and it does not say authorized personnel only, how can they tell you you can't be in there recording? Because they sure as heck got cameras in every corner recording you. So if it's that important and it's that confidential, that top secret kind of stuff that they're doing, then why do they have cameras recording everything? All right. So don't let them tell you, make sure you follow the laws where you're at. And especially if you're in another country, because other countries don't have the same laws that we do. Let's see here. Carla A, thank you for that super chat. Uper SP checking in, and shout out to all Michigan SPs. Folks, also on that line, folks who are in Michigan or can get to Michigan, make sure you email me, get in touch with me. We are starting to put things together. We're going to need to get over there in Battle Creek with Bobby Joe Kellogg. And we're going to need to make sure that we are, getting stuff put together. We have the Detroit org there. I have a special one. As soon as I can ever get the daggone time, I'm going to be heading over to a very interesting property that my wife found and told me about. And when I've talked to other people, especially those who are former Scientologists, they're like, no way. And then when I show them the proof of it, they're like, you got to be kidding me. So that's going to be a really interesting. It's going to be a short live, but it's a very interesting one. Now we have a truly suppressive person in the chat. Chad, do you see this?
Absolutely.
Over there burning biscuits is what I see. How we doing, Marilyn? And remember, Saturday night, join Chad, Marilyn, and myself as we hold the chatathon for the SPTV Foundation. Going to be starting at, I believe, 8 p.m. And then between 8:30 and 11, the Chad and I that are going to be in there, and we're going to be having a lot of special guests coming in. So, make sure you get yourselves over there and check that out. SPTV Foundation has come in where other organizations are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's a very simple fact that when one fails, you have someone else take up the reins and get the things done. And that's what we needed to get done here. And that's why the SPTV Foundation came into existence. And we've got to thank Marilyn for coming on board and, helping to host this. We are just, yeah.
Marilyn's the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, believe me, Chad and I certainly are not the brains of it. We're I don't even know what we would even call ourselves, but yeah, True Trouble. Trouble just arrived in the chat. There you go. So, all right, folks. Well, hopefully, as I've been saying, I've been wanting to do a lot more content where it's not just flash and bang kind of stuff. I want to get it out there to folks, let you know that you're not alone in in this fight. Let you know that there are ways that you can hopefully tailor what you're doing and how you do it, so that you don't cause yourself trouble, you don't cause yourself misery. But there are things beyond all of our control in that. If they decide they're going to fair game you and it starts, you have to be prepared for it. It's that simple. It may, and it's a reality of it. And you have to be prepared for these kinds of things. And I hope that it never happens to any of you. I know personally how it feels to be in that situation. I'm a different breed. Sir Crepitus is a different breed. Chad's a different breed. We take these things with stride. We don't let it run us into the ground. All right. We don't let it frighten us away. Not everybody's like that. All right. So be prepared and know what can happen. Marilyn, I'm really excited about Saturday night. Hope you all can tune in. We've got some great guests lined up, and I was just talking about some of them there, Marilyn. Let me see here. I'm going to go down my list here. Some of the folks we got coming in. As I was saying, let's see. Okay, we have codename Soda is going to be there. Jamie Mustard is going to be part of it. Farrell Cheryl, Nasty Nathaniel, Bobby Joe Kellogg, Sarasota Jerry's going to be joining in on my part. Chad, who have you got coming in for you?
Oh, I have the creator I'm waiting for a callback from.
So we got a lot of great people that are going to be coming in. We have a lot of never ends who are part of the SPTV community. And we have some folks that are actually having been former Scientologists that are going to be there, and they're going to be, it's going to be a great night. We want to raise a lot of money for the SPTV Foundation. We want to show them. And as Marilyn, she came up with a great motto for it. It takes a community. We are a community. We are becoming more of a family every day. Can I call you Sue? Boy named Sue? So, but every day we're all finding more and more and more reasons why we are here, why we are connecting, why this is so important. I had someone actually say to me, why is this so crazy like this? Becky, it's going to be Saturday. And the time slot where we're going to be bringing folks in after we do the welcomes and everything is going to be 5:30 to 8 p.m. your time. It's going to be 8:30 to 11 our time, but it'll be 5:30 on the West Coast time there. So does that mean Pinche Becky's going to be part of this? Does it? So let's see. Yeah, thank you, Sir Crepitus. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Johnny Cash. So folks, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's a hard world. It really is. And a lot of things happen very quickly nowadays, especially with the internet. Things blow up more than you could ever think. And you have to be uh all right. And Pinche Becky's gonna be coming in too.
Nice.
Let's see. Oh, let's look at this. During the 11 to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, they have Pearl Snappy, Selfless Self, Cultology Twins, Susie Oberholtz, Inappropriate Heifer, and others. Marilyn's been working some overtime on this, hasn't she, Chad?
Yeah, absolutely.
Folks, this is going to be pretty much a who's who of the SPTV community, especially for the Never Ends. This is going to be a great one. We had an awesome time with Miriam's chatathon, and I think we're going to be right up there with it. This one, hopefully, the support is going to be even bigger, because it's not just for one person; it's for so many people that need it. Go ahead, Chad.
I was just gonna cough. Sorry.
Oh, well, fine. So, Chad, you got anything to take us out with here tonight?
Oh no, this was great, and I look forward to Saturday night, Poe.
Absolutely. And Mona says she's going to sleep during the day so she can be up all night with Clearwater Chad.
Nice.
Someone used to have a thing that they were doing. I don't know if they still do it or not. They were sleeping with, So now everybody can say, well, I spent the night with Clearwater Chad. So the Sunrise Sound, will this be? Yes, it will be streamed on. And the way that we do a lot of it now, it's going to be streamed primarily through Marilyn's channel, but it's going to stream through mine and Chad's as well. And there may be some ability to link on for some of the folks that are coming in to be guests on the live Saturday. But the thing is that they are, one way or another, Chad, Marilyn, and I will have it streaming live on our channels, and we look forward to having each and every one of you there. So, Chad, anything else to say tonight?
Oh, just that I'm looking forward to. This was great tonight, and I'm looking forward to Saturday night with you, Poe, and everyone else, Marilyn and everyone.
Absolutely. We need these kinds of things for community building, don't we?
Absolutely. This is great. It's been a while. This is great to get back to do it.
Well, Miriam's was the last one, and then before that, it had been quite a while before that as well. So this is going to be great to have this coming up again Saturday night. The SPTV Foundation Chatathon 2024, starting at 8 p.m. and then going. It's going to go all night. We're going to be running different slots. We're going to have a bunch of great guests that are going to be coming in and being part of it, showing our support for the SPTV Foundation and, our support as a community for each other. Folks, I don't want to scare people off. I don't. If you want to join this fight and you want to be part of this fight, we welcome you with open arms. It's that simple. We welcome you. Okay? But you need to be prepared. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to look at the reality of how things happen and what could happen. All right. These things have happened. All right. So to think, oh, it won't happen. Well, it's, it already has. And it's happened in more cases than we can even count. Think about how many people have been fair game to have never said anything about it. Okay. They're doing it to Leah Remini. All right. As big a name as she is, they do it to her. They do it to active. Sir Crepitus was an active police officer when they tried doing it to him. I'm a retired chief of police. They do it to me. All right. Chad, attorney, bazillionaire.
That's
right. One of the biggest OnlyFans channels out there. All right. So Chad's got all this stuff going on. They go after him too. So, folks, the reality of it is that, yeah, it's real. It does happen. I don't want to scare you off, but I also am not going to blow smoke up your hind end. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it won't happen. It can't happen. Those kinds of things. It can. Just be prepared for it. And remember, you have a community here that backs you and believes in you. And if you want to jump into this fight, jump in. Okay. And we're here to support you. Chad and I, if you have like technical questions, things like that, we'll help you out as best as we can. If we can't handle it, then we're going to get you to the people that can. But you're not alone. Just stay strong, stay vigilant. Remember, life is short. You get one shot. Make it count.